It is a beautiful night for baseball once again in downtown Cincinnati. And the Reds are trying to even the series against their division rivals and the leaders in the NL Central. Game 2 of 3 against the Chicago Cubs. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Joey Votto 3 times made good, solid contact last night. Normally for Votto, Chris, that's not a big deal. But you're hoping it's a foreshadowing of what might be coming up.
Well, he also hit a home run last night, I think, but that's really the outlier there because Joey Votto's not a home run hitter. He's a guy that hits the ball hard and gets on base. That combination makes him one of the better first basemen around. But he's not been doing very well. We've seen this before. Early in the year, he starts off slow, and he's been able to come back very strong in the second half. Let's go back to 2016, through the first 45 games there, very much like this year, down in low 200s, very few power numbers, on-base percentage is way off, and he catches fire and becomes a very, very tough hitter to get out. We're hoping the same thing happens here in 2019.
Reds are also hoping here in 2019 that Sonny Gray can finally get a win. He's had a couple of games in his 8 starts where he could have won, but he's coming off of a rocky outing against the Oakland Athletics.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he had a lot of emotions going on in that athletics contest because he's had a lot of guys on that ball club that he knew. Bob Melvin, his manager, was there, and it's very sometimes tough to get past the emotional part and just get out there and pitch. Lately, however, he's had a hard time throwing the pitches over the plate that he normally throws over with pretty good efficiency. I'm talking about his cutter and his curveball. He's gotten behind in the counts. We need more first pitch strikes out of Sonny Gray tonight in order to keep these Cubs down where they belong, which is underneath the Reds.
And one guy nobody's keeping down right now is Bryant.
Well, he's hitting the ball hard. I mean, he's a guy that you're just waiting for him to erupt. He's a typical power hitter where he gets hot and he gets cold and he gets hot. And when he's hot, he can carry your ball club. And right now, it's always good to know who's swinging the bat well. Chris Bryant, one of those. You've got to pitch him way in when you come in and go way soft to make sure you don't leave it out over the center of the plate.
All right, when we come back, we know Jim Day's dialed in on the home team, but he's also dialed in on the visitors. He's going to bring you up to speed on what's going on.
Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati Children's Hospital, changing the outcome together. By Furniture Fair, for style and flair, choose Furniture Fair. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good, it's Skyline time.
Hey there, Reds fans. John Gum from Local 12. Another night in Cincinnati. Another perfect night for baseball. If anything, a little bit warmer this evening. By the first pitch tonight, we're right around 70 degrees. We'll call it 69. Falling into the mid-60s by the stretch and down to 62 by the final out under partly cloudy skies. Enjoy the Cubs and Reds right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, the Reds will try to even up this 3-game set at a game apiece, and they'll go against the 80-pitch repertoire of Yu Darvish, exaggerating a little bit there, but he's got a full arsenal, but maybe not the same pitcher that he was earlier in his career. And check out what opponents are doing on the first pitch of an at-bat this season. This may play right into the Reds' hands. Opponents are 11 for 17, 647 average on the first pitch of an at-bat this season. You check out our Scott's triple threat, guys that like to go up there hacking, Suarez, Votto, and Puig. All with good numbers swinging at the first pitch this season. Jose Iglesias you can add to that list as well at a 376 clip. And the Reds' 12 home runs this season on the first pitch is tied for second most in the National League. It's Sonny Gray going to the hill for the Reds. It's the Cubs and Reds coming up from GABP. Tom Brenneman, Chris Welsh standing by with all the play-by-play action here on
Sonny Gray making his way to the mound in preparation of his 9th start wearing Cincinnati red and white primarily tonight. An 0-4 mark. And more on his numbers in a moment. Meanwhile, Joe Madden, skipper of the Chicago Cubs. And what a run they are on right now. 11 games over 500. And sitting atop the National League Central Division. His lineup presented by Furniture Fair. It'll be Hayward in right, Bryant again for the ailing Rizzo at first base. Baez a shortstop, and Schwarber in a cleanup spot at left. Bodie down at third. Almora Jr. in center. Addison Russell to start at second base. Taylor Davis catching Yu Darvish. And the numbers on Sonny Gray.
Well, he's still looking for his first win, although he's pitched ball games that are good enough you'd think he would have had a win by now. He's had 16 walks on the year. 8 of those have come in the last 2 starts he's had. So he's had very good control early on. Last couple of times out, had a hard time finding the strike zone. Still just keeps the ball in the ballpark. His dinger avoidance power is very good right now. And the scout report on Sonny Gray is he's throwing fewer sinking fastballs, more cutters and curveballs. He's got recent command issues, as we mentioned, with the walks, 8 of them in the last 2 games. And you need more first pitch strikes because you've got to be able to make sure that you don't pitch in this ballpark against a power-laden team like the Cubs in hitters' counts where they're looking fastball, and you've got to come right in there. So if he can get that first pitch in there, it'll make a world of difference here tonight for Gray.
All right, so here we go. Game 2 of 3. The Cubbies coming away. A masterful pitching performance here last night from their starter and winner, Kyle Hendricks. Pitching 8+ innings, allowed just 3 hits and a solo home run to Joey Votto. Cishek able to nail it down with a save. Reds look to even the series at 1 apiece. And Gray throws his left leg in the air, and here we go. It is low ball 1, and we're underway tonight on May the 15th.
We talk about last night's performance, and Kyle Hendricks, the name Greg Maddux was bantered around behind the batting cage today so many times by so many different people trying to make that comparison. He looked like Maddux last night.
Things pretty much went south on Gray, starting with the first batter, his last start in Oakland. And as Chris mentioned, certainly some pre-game jitters going back to pitch in Oakland for the first time since he left there a couple of years ago. He walked the first batter, and the second batter hit a home run. Hayward dribbles it foul, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. A .250 batter, does have 6 home runs and 18 runs batted in, and an on-base percentage of .355. And a liner the other way, and able to come in and get it sliding. A good play out there by Jesse Winker.
Well, that may even be a great play out there because given the circumstance, first batter of the ball game, a rifle shot opposite field off the bat of Hayward. That's a sinker right there. You're looking right into the sunshine. You got to come down and make sure you got to keep it in your glove. That's a big pick-me-up for Sonny Gray.
That'll bring up Bryant on quite a roll right now, the Chicago Slugger, and still so young. He's down a strike. He's reached base safely in each of his last 23 games, going back to April the 17th. It's the longest streak of his career, the longest active streak in the major leagues. A .457 on base percentage during this stretch. 1 ball and 1 strike. His last 2 games alone, he is 6 of 9 with a bomb. He had a double here last night. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, this is where Chris Bryant finds out if he's a pretty good breaking ball hitter or not, because that is really the calling card for Sonny Gray. Different types of breaking pitches, cutters that move away from a right-hander, big overhand curveballs. That's been oftentimes his put-away pitch. And that was the curveball right there. A little bit of a roller. We've seen that much sharper earlier in the year. He may have got away with one right there. Might want to come back and bounce one.
Deep in the hole at short, Iglesias turns it loose, and boy, we talked about it. Chris, you did a number of times last night. It didn't matter who it was. Bryant, Contreras, Baez, right on down the line. These Cubs are busting it up the line on every ground ball.
Well, they're playing the game the way it ought to be played. I'm not sure whether it took a team meeting or whether veterans are getting on other players around in that ball club or whether it's something Joe Madden has made a mention of. But it's a collective approach, no doubt.
So the first two retired, a line out and a ground out, and here is Javier Baez. And he is up there hacking right from the get-go. 54 hits, third most in the National League, .325 average, seventh best. His slugging percentage is fourth best. He's starting to put himself on the radar as an MVP candidate each and every year. He was knocking on that door last year. Sonny Gray's had one start this year where he went 6 innings. He had another where he went 6 2/3. Those were two of his first 4 starts. Overall on the year, with those starts included, he is averaging fewer than 5 innings per start. Reds made the deal to bring him in from the Yankees and promptly signed him to a 3-year contract extension. That Baez way out in front of that breaking ball there, 2-2.
Yeah, that's his go-to pitch. And in those games early on when he threw the ball really well, that's when he had a really good release point. Looks like a strike coming out of your hand, darts down and away, changes speeds. It's about 10 miles off the fastball.
Good movement again there, and it's a 1-2-3 opening inning for Sonny Gray. Reds are coming up. Nick Senzel and the Redlegs coming to bat here in the bottom of the first inning. And he'll be facing Yu Darvish. More on him in a moment. The Reds lineup brought to you by Furniture Fair. Valo to follow, and then Suarez. Winker, Puig, and Dietrich the middle third. Iglesias, Gray, and Barnhart the latter third. Against a veteran right-hander given a whopping contract prior to that last year. Was hurt most of the year.
Interesting matchup, really, for Darvish and Gray. Both of these guys have good resumes, mainly from the American League, and they're trying to get it together here in the National League. And both have had some control problems, especially Darvish. Look at the 33 walks, 44 strikeouts. Scout report on him is make him throw strikes. You can run on him if you get on base and lay off the high fastball, because that's what he's trying to get you to chase, especially when he gets a couple of strikes on you. You like to run up the ladder a little bit.
You know, Chris, I'm curious your thoughts on this. Jim Day gave a great stat about in the first pitch in at-bats against Yu Darvish this year, balls put in play, the opponent's batting average is .627. Having said that, he has walked 33 batters in 36 innings. So you know where I'm getting at here, right? Does it behoove you to go out there and swing in the first pitch, knowing this guy might have a hard enough time throwing 3 strikes before he throws 4 balls?
Well, I like the idea of a .600 batting average on the first pitch. It means you're getting a fastball if you're the kind of hitter that can narrow down the zone and not chase a marginal pitch. Just only swing at what you can handle. Yes, let it rip on the first pitch. If you don't get that spot, though, go ahead and take it. What he's trying to do really is make you chase outside the zone. There's no question about that. He's got a lot of pitches. Jim Day kidded that he's got 80 different pitches. Not quite, but he has 6. Actually, he's down to 5 now because he doesn't throw too many changeups.
1-2 on Senzel, and a slow breaking ball is looped into center field. It'll fall in, the base hit for Nick Senzel.
Good example here of a well-placed breaking ball and a good result for the hitter, because he had this Senzel way out in front, just right on the tip of that bat. So we'll see if now, with Senzel has some speed at first base. He's no Billy Hamilton on the base paths, but Yu Darvish has allowed 8 stolen bases. He's got a very slow time to first base, or to home. He does not have a real quick move to first base. So we'll see if the Reds are going to push the running game at all.
And there he goes on the very first pitch, and a throw is well offline. Really no chance at all for Davis, the catcher tonight. And an easy steal, the second in the career of Senzel.
Well, they had a huge lead down there, almost daring Darvish to throw over. And, Taylor Davis would have needed to put that right on the money.
So now Votto at 207, 4 home runs. Got number 4 here last night. 8 runs batted in.
Kind of an interesting situation for Votto because he's not a guy that normally goes up there, hooks the ball to right field, which is what you would expect out of a hitter with a runner at second base and nobody out. Votto usually hits it where it's pitched, and it's usually pitched on the outer part of the plate to him. When he hits that, he hits it to left field, and that doesn't always get the runner over.
One and two now to Votto, and of course Darvish is very much a strikeout pitcher. He has been among the elite strikeout pitchers, in fact, since he established himself in the major leagues, coming over from Japan beginning in 2012. He's had strikeout years of 221, 277 to lead the league. Has been over 200 times. One other time, in fact, Darvish set a major league record with 812 strikeouts in his first 100 career starts. And that one gets through, and Senzel will trot on down to third base. Boy, you like that.
Well, that's one of those situations where Votto was hoping that he was going to get a call early on by the umpire. Did he go for it or did he not? Because this would be strike 3. He needs a run to first base. The umpire's responsibility right now is to make a call as quickly as possible to give the hitter a chance to go to first base if he deemed that he did go. Third base umpire Ed Hickok said no. So it's a ball that goes through the wickets, and now a runner at third base.
Cubs conceding the run along the infield unless it's hit right at the third baseman. And here's a pitch. And Votto looks at strike 3, a fastball right down the middle of the plate.
You know the old saying, look for fastball and adjust to the breaking ball. I think Votto is doing the opposite right there. He had been fed a diet of nothing but breaking pitches in that at bat, and Darvish throws the heater right by him.
Now Eugenio Suarez, his job to try and get that runner in from third, and the Cubs are going to turn up the heat a little bit with one away in the inning. The infield defense now drawn in for Suarez. First pitch swinging on a fastball, and it's back to the screen. And now 0-2. Senzel led off the inning with a single, stole second base, went to third base. After the pitch got away from the catcher, a pass ball. And with one out, still leads at third, the 0-2. Suarez batting average this year has been some 50 points better, with a runner in scoring position than his overall .252 average on the season. Hooked down the left field line towards the corner, and that is a fair ball up against the wall. Senzel will score. Run scoring two-base hit by Eugenio Suarez. He gets the job done. And the Reds a 1-0 lead.
Just not a lot of snap in this breaking pitch right there. Not when you throw it up there above the belt on the inner third. And Suarez with a hooker right down the left field line to drive one in.
And he continues now for the left fielder, Jesse Winker, a .219 batting average, a .291 on base percentage. He does have 9 home runs and has knocked in 15. Reds in the first inning, and that really is something that has happened a great deal recently after early droughts in the first inning most of the year. But 9-5 when scoring in the first inning of a game. And generally that's a pattern, the team that scores first. And because you score in the first, it could be the bottom of the first, and the other team could have scored first technically, but it's about winning 2/3 at a winning percentage. Well, Winker had some ugly swings here last night. Of course, a lot of guys did against Kyle Hendricks. I mean, you don't know if that quad is still bothering Jesse Winker. Jim Day, I know, spent a lot of time on that road trip with Jesse, and maybe we'll check in with JD and find out how Winker's coming along. On the ground to Russell, and to third goes Suarez. 2 down in the inning. Chicago on defense looks like this. Brought to you by Ford. What a play by Almora Jr. in left center field last night. Big play in the game. On the infield, Russell to start tonight at second base in place of Descalzo. Still no Rizzo, bothered with a sore back. And Taylor Davis, his 4th start. His other starts have been with Darvish on the mound. The prior 3, and tonight number 4. Now Yasiel Puig at .212, 7 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Puig a hitless night and 3 trips last night. Got beat on a fastball, and Darvish ahead at 0-2.
Yeah, one thing Darvish does have, though, is still pretty good fastball. I mean, that one he struck Votto out on was 96. That one was 95 to Puig. He doesn't overuse it. It used to be more of his main pitch that he get a lot of strikeouts on, but he seems to more nowadays reserve it for times when he needs it most. He'll probably go something breaking pitch and try to make Puig chase.
And that he does on a breaking ball down and away. But the Reds get on the board. RBI by Suarez. Look at the Reds on defense tonight, presented by Ford. Same outfield as last night. Winker, Senzel, and Puig. In fact, the same infield as last night. And again, it's Barnhart behind the plate. Ray got a big play behind him. First batter of the game by Winker and left on a sliding grab, a sinking line drive, taking away a base hit, perhaps extra bases, and retired the next 2. Here's Schwarber. Pride of Middletown, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. Two and one to Kyle Schwarber. And that ball is hit a mile but foul. And I mean a mile and a half. That was hit out of the stadium onto Mering Way.
And maybe into the river.
Be interesting to find out where that one ended up. That may have one hopped on the Mering Way and into the mighty Ohio. And this time he lifts one to left field, backing up Winker a few paces, and that's out number 1. Well, how about the pitching of these two teams? IGS bringing the energy, and these guys have been bringing the goods so far.
Well, they certainly have, and the Reds have been like this all year long. The Cubs got off to not a very good team pitching start at the very beginning of the year when they opened their season in Texas and then Atlanta. But they have thrown the ball extremely well lately, and the Reds bullpen right there with the starting rotation as first in the National League.
Under first-year pitching coach Derek Johnson came over from the Milwaukee Brewers, as many of you already know. David Bodie again has started third base tonight. .248 batter, 3 home runs, 16 batted in. Breaking ball is high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Two balls and 2 strikes on Bodie, and here it comes. Got him swinging on a good breaking ball down and away from the right-handed batter. And that's strikeout number 2 in the game for Sonny Gray.
Yeah, that's oftentimes the difference between Sonny Gray having a good game and a bad game. His ability to get hitters to chase his breaking pitch. And right now his arm speed is good. He's selling it as a strike. And the 3 strikeouts that he's had here in an inning and 2/3 have all come on that breaking pitch.
That'll bring Almora Jr. to the plate. Hit in the 8th spot last night, and they've moved him up. He's swinging a good bat right now. Overall numbers are really nothing to write home about, but he's finally kicked things into gear here during the last 7, 8, 10 days. And that hot hitting continues.
He was batting in the 8th spot last night, but he's got a nice swing. He plays great defense, as we witnessed last night, by catching a ball up against the left field wall. And that ball was by the third baseman Suarez before Eugenio could even move. Rocket shot.
Exit velocity, Chris, before you even asked, at 108.
Pretty good.
I knew you were wondering. At the end of the day, it's a single. And here's Addison Russell. Just brought back up on May the 8th from AAA Iowa. Played in 6 games there as part of a rehab assignment before being optioned out to AAA on May the 2nd after his 40-game suspension going back to last year. Some issues off the field. And this ball is launched into center field, and the Cubs lead by a run. Gray does have a couple of strikeouts, but there have been some rockets off the Cub bats early in this game tonight.
Well, the rockets have come off the fastball. The strikeouts have come off the curveball. Now, you can't throw every pitch a curveball, but you've got to be able to locate the fastball so that these hitters who generate such great bat speed aren't able to just to see it right down the middle. I mean, that is just hitting spot right there for Addison Russell.
And for Russell, that's his first home run since joining the big league club. First pitch fastball, and there's a strike to Davis, the catcher. Of course, Addison Russell, at one time the #1 ranked minor league player in all of baseball with the Oakland Athletics. Former #1 pick, came over in a trade to the Cubs. He's had some very good moments. He's had some major issues away from the field, and they're hoping that those are well behind him. Davis, like Russell, has played in 5 games. He has 2 hits, a home run, and 4 runs knocked in.
Now, this young man has been around a long time. He's 29 years old. He has spent 9 seasons in the minor leagues. When he was originally drafted, and it was by the Florida Marlins, he was the 49th round draft pick for the Marlins. That made him the 1,456th player taken in that 2008 draft. I mean, basically at that time you're filling out minor league rosters.
Sure.
We need a catcher. Let's get this guy. We'll send him to rookie ball because we need somebody to catch all these pitchers we drafted. Raised in Jupiter, Florida, went to Morehead State University for 3 years there and hit really well. And that's where he ended up being drafted. But boy, has he ever been in a lot of minor league stops.
And his first career home run came 11 days ago. And boy, you talk about hitting a home run. He hit the lottery. It was a grand slam.
That'll make you a folk hero in Cubs lore in a hurry.
Oh, Daddy, you better believe that. They'll know that name, Taylor Davis, around the Cubby Bear and some parts in surrounding areas, and he dumps this one into left field to hit.
Yeah, I just don't think that Jesse Winker saw that ball off the bat very well. Had a couple of steps in, and then he kind of stopped and wasn't sure how hard it was hit. He's still in the sunlight, staring directly into the sun here. And Davis pops one in there for a base hit. See, Winker even indicated, I don't see it. It's a tough sun field, really is.
So now Darvish, and of course the pitcher spot was a major offensive force in the game here last night. Not only did Hendricks allow the Reds 3 hits over his 8+ innings, he collected 3 hits, including a 2-run double in the 2nd inning. And that would be enough to get the win. They would tack on one more. Darvish behind 0-2. Boy, was he something last night. And that'll do it for the Cubbies. But they answer +1 on the home run by Russell.
Brought to you by Ford. Go further. By Kroger. It's easy to place your order online and pick up at the store. Try it today at Kroger.com. And by Gilkey Windows, one of the top 100 window manufacturers in the country. Game of Thrones night here at the Yard. The Throne out on the concourse. Fans can come by and get their picture taken with it. Derek Dietrich in the theme as well. The people that make the belts for the Reds, well, they sent him a Game of Thrones-esque belt, which he had tied like they apparently do on Game of Thrones. So he's playing along tonight. But nothing says Game of Thrones like business attire. What do you think?
Very nice. Very, very nice, Jim Day. Jim, are you a big Game of Thrones guys? I asked Chris last night. Are you?
I am not. I've yet to watch it.
Okay.
Not yet.
Because you're a guy that watches a lot of those shows when we're on the team planes flying all over, and you would be one guy that I thought perhaps may have seen.
I'm not a Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
But you got to have a Game of Thrones guy.
And I think it would be this guy, right? Derek Dietrich?
He says he's actually never watched it either. A couple guys. Sid Zell's big into it. Kyle Farmer. Others.
Okay.
But Derek's like, I'll play along even though I've never watched an episode. He'll play along with it. He's just having fun.
Well, he loves to have fun. Loves to smile. Loves to laugh. Reds are down 2-1. They bat against Darvish here in the home half of the 2nd inning. See the career numbers for Darvish in 4 at-bats against Dietrich. Derek 2 of 4. 4 runs batted in. David Bell continues to talk pretty regularly about Jose Peraza and what an important part of this Reds team he is. Now, Dietrich, a left-handed batter, has obviously done some major league damage with a bat this year, and in somewhat limited playing time. It's been more and more lately. 10 home runs, 25 batted in. But second straight game, no Peraza in the lineup, and he was one of the few Reds that actually swung the bat a little bit on the road trip.
Well, he swung it on the road trip, but he's still batting average down around 200. And you still have Dietrich down around 230. So, you know, the choice is, do you go with a little bit of power that Dietrich brings with you, trying to ignite this offense? I think they'd rather have Peraza in there playing. Defensively, he's a better player, I think. I think that also the age of Peraza, what they've got invested in Jose Peraza, you know, he is very important to this ball club. And he's probably wondering, you know, how much am I going to play? Well, when you get your chance is when you prove that.
And there's strike 3 call. 3 of them early on here tonight through the first 6 batters for Yu Darvish.
Little backdoor breaking ball right there. Look at the location where they're throwing it to Dietrich. He likes the ball down, and they know that, and they're throwing the ball up.
Darvish, at 31, was given a 6-year contract with the Cubs prior to last season. That went high and tight. He made a grand total of 8 starts last year before his season ended due to injury. Happened at the end of May, had right triceps tendonitis. Won 1 game with an ERA of almost 5 his first year with Chicago.
Well, his walk rate is what's really killing him this year. He's walking almost 1 out of every 5 batters that he faces, 20%, which is highest in the league. Now they're trying to get his delivery back so that he can, you know, smooth it out and throw the ball where he wants to. I mean, at one time when he was at his peak, striking out all the batters he had pitches that were running every which way. They would cut into a left-hander, they'd run away. He had a forkball, and a changeup, and a cutter, and a curveball, slider. He's narrowed that down to 5. He no longer throws his changeup, but he does throw, you know, fastball, cutter, curveball, slider, and a split finger pitch. Although he only throws that splitter now about 3% of the time.
Darvish, a full-time All-Star during his days in the American League, most recently in 2017. He's come back from 3-0 to run it to 3-2. Off the end of the bat. And moving over into left center is Almora. 2 down.
One of the things the Reds really want to make sure that their hitters do tonight is protect the strike zone. Darvish is one of these pitchers, and he's not doing it on purpose, but he tries to get the hitters to chase. He's throwing so many pitches in a ball game, and so many of those are on the corner or off the plate, that he gets a lot of easy outs off the end of the bats, chasing pitches that really aren't good hitters' pitches.
Darvish, in his most recent start, allowed 1 hit and 1 run. Struck out 7. All those things sound good. But in 4 innings and walked 6 batters. 97 pitches in 4 innings.
Sounds like an instructional league game. where you leave them out there so they get their work in. And maybe fortunately for him, it was against the Florida Marlins, who are redefining futility.
Well, you're not lying about that. And look, the Reds haven't been exactly tearing up the win column over the last 4 years, but that Marlins situation, my, oh my. 2-1 on Sonny Gray. Big happy birthday, 88 years old, Bill Waltner. His bride of 65 years, Betty. They never miss a Reds game. They're up in Hamilton, Ohio. Bill Waltner, happy number 88, my man.
Indeed.
Wrote a beautiful note to us here up in the booth. Said hello, said you guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. Said his good friend is Jim Day. That's what he says right here on this piece of paper in front of me. So Bill Waltner, happy 88. 3-2 the count. Hall of Famer Joe Morgan going to join us here in the third inning. Talk about what's going on with the Reds and some of the things he's been seeing, been watching each and every game, either here at the ballpark or at home in Northern California. Darvish retires the side in order. Cutway's a treat. One of our all-time favorites. Not only on the field, off the field. So much very admire this guy. Joe Morgan, the Hall of Famer. How are you, my man?
I am doing great. I feel great. Great to see you guys. You know, I listen to you every night even when I'm not here.
Well,
so.
I'm sorry for you in that regard.
No,
really, how are you feeling? Because a lot of people really want to know how you're doing.
That's great. I'm glad you answered that. I am better than I was 15 years ago. Let's put it that way. Health-wise, I am great. My knee is not great. I'm still having trouble getting around there. Otherwise, I'd be running marathons. But no, I'm good. I am great.
Well, there are a lot of people thinking about you, praying
I'm glad
for you.
you asked that question,
right.
so we can put that to rest.
All right, now, general overview. You really do honestly watch or attend every single game.
Yes.
Let's start with offense. You're 40-something games into the year now.
I'll answer that before you answer.
Okay.
I'll say I'm shocked that it has taken us this long to produce consistently with the players that we have and the players that we've had in spring training. You know, I was like everybody else coming out of spring training. I'm all excited and whatever. Now, one thing I did say before, cold weather does slow things down.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Jason Hayward to lead things off, and it's a 2-1 Chicago lead, ball one.
So that's what I meant. The first couple of weeks it was cold and whatever, so I kind of gave them a pass, so to speak, but I just didn't figure it would take this long before this offense in this ballpark would demonstrate what they're capable of.
Of course, this team's rarely ever been home. They come home for a 4-game series. They hit the 15 home runs in the 4 games against the Giants, but now all of a sudden, Joe, on this homestand you're playing 2 really good teams.
I think that's the point, but I'm still surprised because look, I'm going to be surprised if we do not hit Darvish tonight, because Darvish hangs a lot of sliders, throws the fastball. He doesn't really have that great off-speed pitch to keep our guys off of him. And even in the first inning, hung a slider to Senzel. He gets a base hit. Well, Joey took 3 strikes. I don't know what that was about. But by the same token, Suarez gets a hanging slider. Boom. He's going to hang some sliders. That's why I say we should be able to put some runs on the board tonight.
Hayward, his first time up, hit a laser, and that's still when it was the Sun field out in left field. And, Chris, you made a great point at the time. There's no telling what might happen in that first inning if Winker doesn't come in and slide to make that catch. That's a big play.
It's a very tough field to play here. One of the unusual ballparks where left field is the Sun field.
I remember old Yankee Stadium, though. Remember back in the day? Well, yeah, I'm like older than you. So when the Yankees used to be in the World Series all the time, that left field was that Sun field in the old Yankee Stadium, and Yogi Berra and all those guys were out there trying to play it. I remember that as a kid growing up. That was one of my fond memories of Yankee Stadium.
Oh, dear. Jam shot pop-up trying to get the out, and they will. So the first batter retired here in the Chicago third inning. You remember this feeling, don't you? It didn't happen to you much, but every now and again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It happened. especially against some of those tough left-handers. That fastball tailing in. It's so funny because in my career, the pitch I hated most from a left-hander was the fastball tailing in. The slider away and the curveball didn't bother me. As long as I made it a strike.
And you probably saw more sliders and curveballs because lefties never wanted to get beat inside.
Hey, I had them tricked. I had them fooled, I'm telling you.
You sure did. I mean, and made him look bad, too.
Well, Sam McDowell, remember how hard he threw at Sudden Sam? I remember facing him when he was with the Giants. He threw 2 fastballs in, strike 2, slider out over the plate or curveball, ground ball up the middle, base hit.
High into the air, playable for Senzel, and this will be out number 2.
I fouled off the next time up. He threw a fastball in. I fouled it off, and then he threw me another curveball. I was 2 for 2 off of two curveballs, and this guy's throwing 90-something miles an hour. So I did have him tricked, but like you said, they always like to throw the breaking ball away.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think of this guy, Javier Baez? I mean, we saw him very raw, come up. I mean, tremendous energy, really swings hard every time. He's beginning to get it together a little bit.
He slowed that big swing down a lot last year. As soon as I say that, he lets it go again. But with 2 strikes, he was more patient. It used to be you get 2 strikes, you throw it up, eye high, he would swing at it or bouncing in the dirt. He became a lot more patient last year. That's why he was one of those MVP candidates, because he had an awesome year last year.
Well, he's fun to watch.
You love. The one problem I have with the game is I like to see guys with energy. And the guys, you can tell they're having fun playing. There are a lot of times now it looks like it's a business to some guys. You want to see guys that are having fun. I mean, I don't care. You need that energy on the field.
And Baez brings it no matter where they play him. He is some kind of talented, fiery player.
There's that pitch. See, they stood up, wanted that high fastball, Chris, because he used to throw it up there and he would chase it,
Well, that's a dangerous pitch, though.
Oh, definitely.
Because if you throw it too high, they don't even offer at it. If you throw it too low, that's the one that goes a long way, and they ask you, why'd you make a mistake on an 0-2 pitch?
I see that all the time, Chris, because I watch a lot of games. Guys trying to go up there and can't get up there. See catchers standing up.
Now, can the hitter feel the presence of the catcher standing up?
I could anyway. I could feel whether he was inside a little bit or outside. I tried to feel it too, but they didn't do like that. They didn't stand up, and ask for the high fastball. They just put the glove up there.
A lot of times, you don't even need to stand up. You could have the pitcher practice throwing at the umpire's mask, for instance, because the umpire's always going to be there.
Tom Seaver always had these quadrants he would throw to, right? If he wanted to throw a slider low and away, he threw it at the catcher's right knee. He wanted to come inside, he threw it at his left knee. He didn't like bench and those guys moving around back there. So he would set up, and he could throw it at the left knee, left shoulder, right shoulder. That's the way he pitched. So that John didn't have to move over here for the fastball away or here for the fastball in. So I learned that from him when he came over from the Mets.
3-2 on Baez, and struck him out on a breaking ball, and it's a 1-2-3 third inning for Sonny Gray. Joe Morgan in the booth with us. More with a Hall of Fame. 2-1 ball game. The Cubs in front of the Reds. Cincinnati coming to bat. It'll be 9-1-2 in the batting order. And Joe Morgan, the Reds Hall of Fame second baseman, now of course part of the whole baseball operation staff. And you're in all the high level meetings and all that kind of stuff going on. So you're dialed in. We're lucky to have you up here.
I don't know about dialed in, but I go to some of the meetings.
Now, Barnard's going to lead off the inning. You saw Senzel. You were in spring training a lot this year.
Yes, of course.
And you had a chance to see him a little bit last year when they brought him into Major League camp. What are your impressions of young Nick Senzel?
Well, he has a lot of baseball savvy, so to speak. He has good baseball instincts. There's something about guys, I've always been able to watch them, just the way they walk to the plate sometimes, or the way they take a pitch, or the way they do things. I can tell that they have good instincts, and he does have good instincts. Look, I think unfortunately a lot of people were expecting him to come up here and set the house on fire, and it could have happened, except we were struggling. And we always say hitting is kind of contagious. When a young guy comes up and everybody else is struggling, he's the guy, and we're thinking, well, he's going to do this or that. And he got off to a pretty good start, hit a few or 3 home runs. But by the same token, it just takes a while. Remember, this is his first time in the big leagues.
Barnhart looks at a fastball in the inside corner, had some movement on it, maybe took a little off, in fact, and that's strike 3.
Well, some of the guys, like Winker and some of these guys have had some, big league experience.
That actually looks like a cutter that back up for him. Boy, he'd like to throw that whenever he wanted to. The old backup slider, right?
But this is his first real taste of the big leagues. Let's face it, I don't care who you are, you're a little nervous when you get here. Although he didn't look like it when he's hit the home runs here. But, they get a pretty quick book on you, too. And he's just going to have to make adjustments, and I think he will.
And, not only the first 11 games now at the major league level, tonight being his 12th, it should be noted, as he is 2 for 2 tonight, that last year he played in 44 games at AAA and only played in 10 games at AAA this year. So he's not even played 2 full months at that level.
Right.
I don't know if that's a big deal or not.
No, it is a big deal. You don't jump classifications and just jump to the big leagues. You got to learn a little bit along the way. As fastball in, and he did a good job of pulling his hands in. So he pulls his hands in and gets the barrel of the bat to the ball. Again, he's got good instincts, even in the batter's box. But like I said, hitting big league pitching is not that easy, as Chris Welch knows, and he was, an artist at that. It's not easy to just come up here and start hitting.
Joe, I'm interested to hear your take on it. When you say hitter like at Senzel,
right,
has to make adjustments, are you talking about adjustments in strategy of how to approach a pitcher, or adjustments in your swing? What kind of adjustments do you make?
I don't think you should make any adjustments to your swing until they find a way to get you out. For instance, if they find that you can't hit that fastball up and in, you're going to have to change your approach, meaning you have to raise your hands, move your hands in a little bit more, whatever. If they're getting you out with the slider away, then you got to do just the opposite, right? You got to take your body to the ball. You got to go to where the pitch is. So those are the adjustments you have to make, but I don't think you should make any until it becomes apparent that they're pitching in one way consistently.
Here's Votto. He looked at strike 3 his first time up and taking off again and easily stealing his second base of the game to Senzel. I know you like seeing that part of a player's game.
Again, that shows his baseball instincts, because Darvish, you should steal a base off him every time. And he's done that so far every time he's gotten on, and there's no chance for the catcher. So, yes, of course I like that, because it puts, a guy in the scoring position. They're never going to sell me on the stolen base is not a good play anymore. You're never going to be able to sell me on that. But that's, only if a guy's 50-50 or something like that. But if you can steal a base, it always puts a pressure on the pitcher, whether you're on first base or now at second.
I don't want to ask you, because you don't know the answer, I don't know the answer, the Lord above knows the answer, okay? But here's what I want to ask you. From a mental standpoint, as it pertains to Joey Votto, he has been such a great hitter for so long. Then last year, by his own admission, he had a bad year. The worst year he felt of his career, led the league in on-base percentage, but from a hitting standpoint, numbers were way down, all that kind of thing. What I'm asking you is, with a start to this season now, nearly, month and a half, 2 months into the year, for a player, when does it start to get deeper in your head, or does it?
I think it's already in Joey's head. I've seen him take 3 strikes the first time at bat. He's taken another one. He hasn't swung the bat all yet, you know what I mean? And now he's taken 5 strikes, right, in 2 at bats. So if you're telling me that's not in his head, then what is it? I think that he's overthinking, whatever. I watched him, and I never talk to a lot of guys anymore about hitting unless they come to me. I actually went to Joey, where was in Oakland.
2-2 pitch. And did he go? They appeal? No.
I said, you're too good a player. I said, I never talked to you about hitting. He said, Joe, I'd listen to you if you did. I said, I don't do that. But I did talk to him. I'm not going to tell you what I said, but I did talk to him. And I was just trying to get him to understand. I was trying, here. I've watched him a couple of weeks ago. He had a runner at third, took 3 strikes. Next at bat, runner at third, he took 3 strikes, took 6 straight strikes. He never swung. Today, you got a runner at third. He never swung in the first inning, and now he's taking 2 strikes here. So when you say, when does it get in his head, you know, I've never seen Joey do that. So to me, something's, you know, I don't know if he's trying to be, again, too perfect or overthinking.
Because Lord knows he works and works and works, and he wants to be perfect, right?
What's that old saying, though? You got to work smart. You can't, you know, we can work, we can run, but you got to, you know, you got to work on something specific. And I'm sure Joey knows everything, all this stuff about hitting. So your question was, when does it become mental?
3 balls and 2 strikes, and now time is called.
Yeah, I never get the impression that Joey, you know, I always got the impression that Ken Griffey Jr. was so talented and so good. A lot of times he was up there, see the ball, hit the ball.
And that's the best way to hit, Chris.
Yeah, and some guys can overthink it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you overthink. And hey, look, I've been guilty of that. I'm not going to sit here and say that that never happens. You know, I've been guilty of overthinking.
3-2. And excuse me, pop up to the shortstop.
Well, it's obvious that he's in between somewhere. He's in between he's maybe slow on the fastball ahead of the breaking ball. This is a breaking ball. This is a slider down. And there's that swing that I don't know what he does. He just kind of half swings and, you know, that's not going to drive the ball anyplace.
Well, he was really letting the umpire have it after he had gone to first base. I think about the second strike in that at bat, the breaking ball, and he is really upset about it and is making his way back up underneath into the tunnel. So now it's up to Suarez, try and tie the game. He had an RBI double his first time up, strike 1.
Well, the one thing to know is that Joey is too talented, has too much of a history not to be able to find a way to get out of it. I'll just say that. He'll find a way. The sooner, obviously, the better for this ball club, but Joey will find a way. It's like you say, he's going to work and work and work until he figures it out.
Tying run out there at second base with 2 outs for Suarez, and Darvish to the plate. You may remember he got ahead a couple of strikes of Suarez his first time up before he hung that breaking ball, and Suarez whacked it for a double.
And as I said, he'll hang a lot of them, so that's the way he pitches.
Senzel out there at second, representing a tying run.
That's a pretty good pitch there.
Well, especially followed up after a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
And a fastball that was up.
Yeah.
See, that pitch is down. So, I mean, that's why people are excited about Darvish when he was pitching for Texas. Those are the things that he would do, and that's why he got the big contract with the Cubs. He is capable. He has the pitches. He just has to be more consistent with them.
Votto has made his way back into the dugout and hoping his teammate Suarez can tie this thing up or even give the Reds a lead.
And I have to tell you, it has to be difficult for Joey because he's been such a great player for such a long period of time, and hitting has always been his main asset. So it's very difficult. But sometimes, again, you overthink it, and it doesn't work.
1-2 on Eugenio Suarez.
Well, the other thing that I think that would even make it more complicated and difficult for Joey Votto is that the rest of the ball club's not exactly hitting either. So he feels like he's the focal point of this offense. He's not getting it done. Nobody else is getting it done. And the frustration must really be growing from there.
No doubt. I mean, you've always, like you say, been the guy in the middle of this lineup that makes things happen. And nothing is happening on a consistent basis for the team.
Joe, do you think that was a big move for Joey going from the 3 spot to the 2 spot?
I tell you, see, I'm gonna have to answer the question. I've always felt,
don't.
Yes, I do. No. I've
okay.
always felt that Joey Votto, he hit third on this ball club, right? And that's where he was hitting. I'm not gonna say he shouldn't be hitting second or he should be hitting first. I don't know the answer to all that, but I've always thought of Joey Votto as a third-place hitter. Me personally. You know, the new analytics say that sometimes your best hitter hits second now. I've never understood that, but that's kind of the new analytics.
You're still the man. Thanks for coming in tonight, man. This is awesome. Okay. I can sit here all night long.
All right.
Well, we head for the fourth inning here at Great American Ballpark, and it's a 2-1 Chicago Cubs lead over the Redlegs in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Reds got on the board in the first inning on a single by Senzel, who stole a base and scored on a double by Suarez. And then after 2 were out against Sonny Gray in inning number 2, he allowed a single to Almora and a 2-run laser to center field off the bat of Addison Russell for a home run. So that's where we stand with Gray on the mound. He's retired 4 in a row. Has had 2 perfect innings, and the other inning allowed 2 runs and 3 hits.
Boy, is it great to visit with Joe Morgan or what?
Still on his game, isn't he?
I mean,
man, is he on his game.
He sure is.
Sharp breaking ball down and into the left-handed batting Schwarber. And that's 5 strikeouts for Sonny Gray.
Well, what set this breaking ball up is that he was able to throw him inside fastballs early in the at-bat. Schwarber hooked him foul, and he comes right back in there. This one's going to be just basically unhittable for him.
Here's David Bodie. He struck out swinging his first time up. Another night game, a rare off night on a travel night for the visiting team. The Reds are one of the better clubs, more accommodating clubs would probably be a better way of putting it for teams that are traveling after the final game of the series, and the Reds will generally play a day game, but you wonder if there's some gamesmanship going on between the Reds and the Cubs in that regard this year, because the Cubs have the Reds in on 2 of their 3 trips, and on 2 of the 3 in the middle of the week. The final game of the series is a night game. And you best believe there's some of that stuff that goes on in baseball.
Yeah, there is, but usually that getaway game on a Thursday day game, if the home team has a getaway, it's always going to be a day game.
For sure. Right back to the mound, and Sonny Gray takes care of Bodie. Well, certainly a big storyline this year for the Reds early on, presented by Elk and Elk, would be how they played against everybody outside their division, and then how they played, Chris, inside the NL Central. Now, bear in mind, the 12 losses includes, what, an 8-game losing streak, right?
Yeah, and they also include a number of games that were decided by 1 or 2 runs. I mean, the vast majority of the games the Reds have played this year have been tight ball games, and
it's 3-1 Chicago.
Boy.
This is the same thing that happened to Gray in the second inning. He retired the first 2 batters, then gave up a missile to Almora for a base hit before the home run by Russell. And now on the first pitch, after retiring the first 2 here this go round, Almora plays long ball.
Almore ready to swing the bat. Hit a rocket shot. What would we say, 108 miles per hour on a single in the second inning. I'd be surprised if that was even hit as hard as a single. I'd also would not be surprised if he went up there looking for first pitch curve after he got a first pitch fastball his last time and laid into it for a base hit. So the home run was 99 miles per hour exit speed, and the single was 108.
It's hard to believe. But that has to do now where you're mixing in the launch angle.
There you go. Now you're beginning to get it, Tom.
One ball and two strikes on Russell. A homer to center his first time up. Sounded like he broke his bat there. He's checking it out. Apparently not. Had a funny sound. Well done, young lady. Air Force mom. Congratulations. You know, she has a son or daughter in the military. She's got to be a gamer. Because you know her son or daughter's a gamer. Gamer! That's what we like.
We had Hall of Famer Joe Morgan in the booth. And one of his Big Red Machine teammates chimed in last night. We showed you Jesse Winker's spikes last night that he wore, paying homage to the past, including Joe Morgan, including Johnny Bench. And here's Johnny Bench on Twitter. Hey, Jesse, what size are those? Make some nice house shoes. Love them. Thanks for wearing them. That's the greatest catcher of all time checking in. He liked what he saw. Winker wearing different spikes though tonight. Weren't no hits in those last night. So he's got some different spikes on tonight.
All right, well, Jesse 0 for 1 in the game tonight. He bounced out to the second baseman, Russell. Reds scored a run and a couple of hits in the first inning. They had a runner in scoring position in the third with one out. And Darvish able to take care of Votto and Suarez. So it'll be Winker, Puig, and Dietrich. Darvish has already struck out 6 batters in the first 3 innings tonight while allowing 3 base hits. One ball and 1 strike on Jesse Winker. Pulled foul. That's all you hear about all the time if you listen to local talk radio. Doesn't have to be just sports talk radio. Sometimes, the Bill Cunninghams of the world, Mike McConnells of the world will get into some sports conversation, and the fans, Chris, just wondering, will the Reds begin to hit sometime very, very soon before it's quote unquote too late?
Well, I thought it was interesting to hear Joe Morgan is as shocked about as every other Reds fan out there, because we all thought coming out of spring training this ball club would hit. But he made a good point, that a lot of times hitting is a collective thing. One guy gets hot, another guy joins in, and before you know it, you have 3 or 4 guys, seeing the ball well, hitting it all over the ballpark.
Good crowd on hand tonight. Beautiful night for baseball. Back-to-back perfect nights. Even better, we understand, tomorrow night and through the weekend for that matter. Friday night game against the Dodgers at 7:10. 6:40 again tomorrow. And then a 4 o'clock game Saturday. The regular 1:10 start on Sunday. Last Sunday home game, we got started very late in the afternoon due to the Flying Pig Marathon, but back to the regular start time this weekend. – 3-0 on Yasiel Puig. It's the 8th year in the big leagues since coming over from Japan for Darvish. I mean, with all the hype, yeah, he had a lot of strikeouts. You know, maybe he's never lived up to being the guy that everybody thought he would be when he initially came over to the United States. The most games he ever won was his very first year, and he's gone down every single year since. 16, 13, 10. Injured last year.
Well, I think the bar of expectation was so high for Yu Darvish because he was considered by most people the best professional pitcher in Japanese professional baseball. And then when he finished third in the American League in Rookie of the Year, and the next season he finished second in the Cy Young Award, you know, they thought that it would just be, you know, that would be the beginning for him, and he would take off from there. When you broke down his individual stuff, I mean, he had fantastic fastball, great breaking pitches. He had pitches that went every which way. He's got a lot of strikeouts. A lot of times, you know, with every great athlete where you have high promise and who doesn't reach it, usually injuries are involved, especially when it comes to pitchers.
See his career numbers there. Career ERA, pitching primarily in the American League at 3.5. Very impressive. And after falling behind 3-0 on Puig, he strikes him out.
Strikes him out on a pitch in the dirt.
7 strikeouts now for Darvish.
You know, for all the strategy that you have before a game, and I talked to a number of the Reds hitters today and also the coaching staff, and, you know, the strategy part is fine. We're going to make him throw strikes. We're not going to chase out of the zone because that's what his MO is. Everybody knows it. But it's just so hard to do when you get in the batter's box. You read that as a pitch that you can hit. Before you know it, it's down in the dirt. I mean, that's good pitching.
Now Derek Dietrich, he looked at strike 3 his first time up. Breaking ball in there, strike.
A lot of first pitch sliders. And that's probably given the. Remember, you said the stat at the very beginning of the game, Tom, about how on the first pitch the opposition is hitting over 600 on his first pitch. Well, probably many of those were first pitch fastballs, and you know, eventually you're going to figure out what's going on and say, well, I'm not going to throw any more first pitch fastballs. I'm going to throw first pitch sliders, and that's what most hitters are not looking for is first pitch breaking ball.
His last start, he had thrown 97 pitches by the time we've reached the point in the game where we are right now. Short center out. Mora will not get there. And Dietrich with a broken bat, single to center field to keep the inning alive. If a Red, it's a home run off the Toyota side. Joey almost did it last night. Camille McClanahan from Dry Ridge, Kentucky will win that new Tundra thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. So now Jose Iglesias, he flied out to center field his first time up. Ball 1. Number of day games around baseball. The Yankees winners again today. They're much like the Cubs, got off to a slow start and have just taken off. That's part of a doubleheader. Yankees winning game 1, and they're in front in the 6th inning in game 2 at home against Baltimore. Milwaukee in the 3rd, a 4-1 lead in Philadelphia. Arizona blasted the Pirates out in the desert today, 11-1. Cardinals and Braves are just underway. That ball in the gap. Right center field, and off to the races is Dietrich. He's on his way to third, and he will easily score. Here comes a throw to the plate, and it's a one-run game on a double by Iglesias.
He has turned out to be a pretty good hitter. Iglesias gets a hanging slider right here, and unusual for him that he hits it to right center field. I mean, he drives this ball hard. A good secondary lead by Derek Dietrich at first base allows him to scamper around third base and eventually score. Tara House waving him in all the way, and that's a needed run right there. I mean, it's a momentum run. It closes the gap, obviously, to just one run in this ball game, but you also now have a runner at second base. Little bloop here by Sonny Gray, and you tie this baby up.
Gray is 1 for 10 as a batter so far this year. Struck out his first time up tonight against Darvish. Trying to bunt his way on, and that one is over the screen and out of play. 0-2.
I usually don't have a problem at all with pitchers bunting just about any time, but with 2 outs and a runner at second base, might as well take a shot at it, because it doesn't have to be a hard hit ball to be a base hit. This is where you shorten up on the bat and you just try to make contact. You try to play a little pepper up there.
No, we've said a lot of nice things about Darvish here tonight, and look, he's winning the game 3-2, but boy, to watch him pitch, if you're his manager every 5 days, you just got to almost pray that nobody else in your entire starting rotation has a bad game in and around one of his starts, because it was 97 pitches in 4 innings the last game, and it looked like he was going to be right in the 60s before the base hit by Dietrich, the double by Iglesias. Now a handful of pitches to Sonny Gray, and you're knocking on the door at 80. And this is a guy who's had some arm problems.
Maybe there's something related there.
One and two to count on Sonny Gray. Three balls, 2 strikes.
Well, his delivery is just all over the place right now. Sometimes he's following through bent over. Sometimes he's following through standing straight up. I mean, he's just trying to throw a dart in there right now.
He gets a strikeout of Gray to end the inning, but the Reds are back within a run.
Hey, Reds fans, play ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To find a youth organization near you, go to playball.org/playball near you. Let's check out our T-Mobile connection to the game. Edwin Jackson, 14th MLB team that he pitched for today. He started for the Blue Jays and went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. Giants won that game 4-3. And Chris Sale, did you guys catch out his act? Second pitcher in MLB history to strike out 40 and walk no more than 1 batter in a 3-start span. The only other guy to do it, Dwight Gooden in 1984.
Yep. Good in that rookie year.
You know about one stat about Edwin Jackson being with his 14th major league team? You know what that means? Immediately, even if you've never met him before, is that he's a great teammate.
No doubt about it.
Because there is no way a big league ball club is going to sign a guy that has been treaded that many times unless he's good in the clubhouse. And he must be one sensational teammate.
And it also tells you he is the ultimate grinder.
Yep.
Because one team might tell you adios, but there's apparently 14 or 13 or 12 others that'll be happy to have you, give you a shot.
And you got to be willing to do some minor league time to get it back together.
That's right, which he did this year. Good for him. One of those teams has not been the Reds. Edwin Jackson.
Remarkably.
Yep.
Over the last few years, the way that they've been looking for pitching.
You're right. All right, Sonny Gray now. He was given a 1-0 lead. His team fell behind by a run, then fell behind by 2 runs. His offense is drawn back within a single run. And he'll be facing 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order. This is a very important inning for Gray to get through and not do a lot of fooling around. He's given up 2 home runs, given up some very loud outs in this game. He has struck out 6 Chicago Cub batters.
Well, does Taylor Davis have some happy feet in the batter's box or what? Watch him move around in there.
He had a single into left field his first time up. Well, broken back. Votto stays with it. One away. Coming up later tonight, an all-new Reds Weekly. Nick Senzel and Josh Van Meter, great friends off the field and are experiencing rookie life together. Kyle Farmer's impersonation of a country music star. Reds Weekly tonight after Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. We're streaming on Fox Sports Go. Jeff Pecoro, Doug Flynn and company, Ron Millenor, Kurt Dreamweaver. Thinking of an old high school buddy of mine, Kent Dreamweaver. I have a good buddy of mine named Kurt Weaver. We used to call him Dream back, and in those days it was a dream. A fog would be more accurate. Kent Dreamweaver, along with Ronnie Millenor putting that together. 1 ball and 1 strike on Yu Darvish. It's a great show. Check it out after the ball game tonight. Two and 1 to Darvish. Darvish only 14 at bats now on the season, and it's his 9th start of the year. Gives you an idea of how infrequently he's hanging around after about the 4th or 5th inning in most of his games this year. Not even getting 2 at bats per start. Gray has gone the distance on Darvish. And that's his first base hit of the year. That is the 4th hit by Cub pitching in the first 2 games of this series.
A lot of pitches just left out over the center of the plate. And those are the ones that are getting hit. Doesn't matter how hard you throw. I mean, unless you're up around 100 miles an hour, in the 90s is hittable. Kristen Orfia. He's had a few hits here in Cincinnati. First base coach now for the Cubs. He doesn't get to see many of those pitchers down there at first base.
No, he does not. Well, he has the last 2 nights.
Yeah.
That is a foul ball by Jason Hayward, and it's 0-2. Hayward is 0 for 2. A line out to left and a bounce out to first base. He was hitless in 4 trips last night. Not even bothering to hold on Darvish with 1 out. And gone swinging is Hayward. Reds have action in their bullpen as Gray is up to 85 pitches in the game. A night of their own, one of our great nights at the ballpark, presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. It's Thursday, May the 30th. Dinner, drinks, meet and greets with Reds coaches, on-field activities, exclusive Reds swag. Sign up today. It's a great night at Reds.com/baseball101 for the ladies only. Great, great night. And it doesn't matter if you're a hardcore baseball fan or you just want to learn about baseball. That's why we have it as Baseball 101. You just have a lot of fun with some of your girlfriends, so come on out. Bryant went around, 1-1. Told you, Gray not even averaging 5 innings per start so far this year. He's an out away from getting through 5 innings here tonight.
Well, he's got a tough out there in Chris Bryant. Bryant had kind of a tale of 2 seasons last year. Had a great first half. By Father's Day, he had 9 home runs, hitting .280. Then he had that shoulder injury that put him on the disabled list. He never really got his power back. Unable to pull the bat through the zone. And that's the reason you're seeing a lot more production from Bryant this year.
That'll do it. Gray, 5 innings of work. He's given up 3. His team down a run.
Celebrating 150 years of Reds baseball. Tonight's Geico Reds historical moment on this date in 1919. Reds scored 10 runs in the 13th inning versus the Dodgers after being shut out in the first 12 innings. And in 1944, Clyde Schoen no-hit the Braves. In his first start of the season, Reds won that game 1-0. 1919. Reds will later on this season be wearing those 1919 throwbacks.
And they'll be wearing the 1912 uniforms, I'm told, this weekend against the Dodgers on Sunday. I think everybody's really enjoyed getting a look at those throwback uniforms for the first time after kicking that off 2 weekends ago with the Giants here.
Hey, those are great uniforms. I mean, the 1869 uniforms and then the blue uniforms, what were they from, like
1911, I think, something like that.
Those are really awesome.
Yeah, they were great.
And I understand that are they being sold in the team shop?
Yeah. In fact, I've already seen a lot of guys walking around with those blue caps on. Those are nice. All right, so it is 9-1-2 in the batting order. Reds hitting here in the 5th inning against Yu Darvish, and there's already action in the Chicago bullpen. He's really their Mr. Everything down there, and that would be Mike Montgomery. They've used him to start. They've used him in long relief, and he was a guy that got the final out in the World Series for their first title in 108 years in that 7-game thriller against the Indians.
Well, when you spend the money that the Cubs have spent to upgrade their pitching staff, bringing in Cole Hamels and then Yu Darvish, to round out a staff that they already had, they've moved a couple of guys that were starters to the bullpen. Tyler Chatwood being one of them. Kind of interesting that they moved Chatwood to the bullpen because of his wildness. But they have a pitcher who's pitching, maybe not as wild tonight, Darvish, but he's been wilder than anybody in the league this year.
And yet he has not walked a single batter in this game tonight.
And
not
that's
one.
the kind of turnaround that Joe Maddon has been looking for.
He had walked in his last 2 starts 11 batters in 8 innings.
Well, he was walking 1 out of every 5 batters he faced coming into this season, or into this game.
Well, here's another guy. He's been batting, down at the bottom of the order, 8th or 9th. Any game he gets a chance to start, but the Reds need to start getting a little offense out of this guy, too. Barnhart, 2 for his last 34.
Yeah, it's one thing to be hitting, 230 or 240, being down the bottom of the lineup, but when you're struggling as much as Barnhart, it's hard to hide.
That is the 9th strikeout of the game by Darvish. 1 out only in the 5th inning. Reds fan cam back this Friday night over at the Holy Grail. Right at the Banks. Answer Reds trivia to win great prizes. Be part of Reds Live. Party gets underway at 6 this Friday at the Holy Grail at the Banks. Top of the order, been a perfect night for Nick Senzel. Pair of at-bats, pair of singles, 2 stolen bases, and a run scored. One and 0 to Senzel. Yeah, both pitchers in this game not quite yet through 5 innings, and both of them are knocking on the door at a 90-95 pitches.
Really, you can see the contrast between last night and Kyle Hendricks' approach, which was, pitching to contact. I mean, his goal was to get an out within 3 pitches. That was always the goal and stated goal of Greg Maddux back in the day, that, if he went more than 3 pitches on a batter, he thought it was a failure. And Darvish is almost like Sonny Gray in his approach. It doesn't matter how many pitches as long as they don't get a hit.
2-2 on Senzel.
Comes a splitter.
And he gets a pop-up down the line. Hayward, a good outfielder, and makes a nice play over in front of the stands.
Yeah, one of the best right there, Hayward is. That's that one spot where the stands seem to come out a little bit right into an angle. Making some Reds fans with some friends with Reds fans while he's at it.
All right, now Votto with 2 outs. He has struck out looking and popped up on a check swing to the shortstop. First pitch swinging this time. And dumps it foul off to the third base side out of play. Votto was clearly very unhappy with the home plate umpire. And we have seen that. I don't know, Chris, if you'd agree with this. Not just with Votto, a lot more this year with Joey, but a lot more with hitters all over the league.
I think it has a lot to do with the superimposed strike zone that is on television. If the hitters run back into the underneath of the stadium, they immediately run up there after what they think is a bad call, even during the game, and they want to check out whether that was a ball or a strike. Some of them even have the audacity to tell the umpire the next time up, hey, I checked and you missed that pitch. That's a bad thing to do.
And by the way, the publication The Athletic, which is an online sports page, wrote a story earlier today that said Major League Baseball is getting away from this current system they are using, and they're moving on to the Hawkeye system beginning next year rather than StatCast as we know it now. Robert Stevenson will take over for Sonny Gray as the Reds bring on their bullpen. The recent run for both bullpens. How about, Chris, these numbers? I mean, you talk about getting it done now.
It gives a manager a lot of faith, doesn't it, to be able to ring the phone down there in the bullpen and bring in the kind of performers that they have both been able to bring in. The last 7 games for the Cubs and the last 8 games for the Reds, although the Reds have been really lights out just about all season long. And one of the main parts of that has been the guy who's on the mound right now, and Robert Stevenson.
Stevenson basically is being used as an every 3 or 4 day pitcher. As that fastball knocks down Javier Baez, who going to try to get his sea legs back under him. Oh boy, that'll get your attention in a hurry, won't it? And you come back with a breaking ball at 85 miles per hour. But basically, Chris, they've stayed away from using this guy. His first time in the bullpen, very much this season. Yeah, this is his 17th game. And you see only 18 innings, and they don't bring him in back-to-back games.
Well, you want to get the best out of every pitcher. You put him in a situation where he's going to succeed the most. And the difference for me, and really everybody that's seen, if we could see his statistics up there again, you'll notice that he has walked only 4 batters. I mean, he was walking 4 batters every other day last year.
Yep.
And almost like he was proud of it. 23 strikeouts and 4 walks. I mean, that is getting it done, and that's a huge turnaround for Robert Stevenson.
Yes, it is. And he just took care of Baez on strikes.
Boy, Baez so badly after being knocked down that first pitch wanted to hit this ball over the scoreboard. How about this for a 2-strike swing? Airing it out. Wow.
How does your shoulder stay in the socket on that swing?
Flexibility.
Yeah, youth. Now Schwarber, we're into 6th inning. Chicago with a 1-run lead. Another tight one here tonight. And that has been the story for the Reds this entire year. They have played 28 games, decided by 2 runs or a single run. And they are 10 games under 500 in those 28 games. Six and 13 in the 1-run decisions, 3 and 6 after the loss in a 2-run game last night.
Got a dangerous count right here. Once you go to 2-0, you have Schwarber in the box, a 1-run ball game. You go 3-0, you have to assume he's green lighting right here and ready to wheel that lumber. Get a little 3-0 Leo.
Three and 1 on Kyle Schwarber. And nowhere near the strike zone. Strikeout and a walk to begin the Chicago 6th. David Bodie 0 for 2 is struck out and bounced out to the pitcher.
It looks like all of a sudden Stevenson has kind of come out of the way that he's been pitching up until right now. And it looks like he's trying to overthrow a little bit too much. Maybe it's getting back into this ballpark. Maybe it's having gone a few days without being in a ball game. But he just does not look as relaxed out there tonight as we've seen him.
Well, he pitched in 3 games on the road trip and allowed runs in 2 of the 3. 2 of the games in Oakland. Faced 1 batter, gave up a home run, and got the loss in that game in 13 innings. The day before, he had pitched an inning and 2/3, allowed 2 hits and a run. And only twice this entire year have the Reds used him in back-to-back games, and they had to that last time because they were out of pitchers in the 13th inning. Or out of pitchers they wanted to use in that game. Sure. I'm not implying that they had burned through the bullpen. Please forgive me. 2-2 on Bodie.
Well, when it all else fails, flip up the breaking ball. Boy, that's been Robert Stevenson's biggest changeover, I think, that has made him a big league pitcher. Throws it on a 2-1 count. And a good hitter to throw it against, too. He's going to throw another one right here.
Got him swinging on that pitch. So he comes right back after falling behind in the visit to the mound by Derek Johnson.
It's kind of interesting, really, Tom, when you start really looking at pitching in the major leagues and how it's changing. Of course, the average velocity has gone up, especially when it comes to relievers coming out of the pen, middle relief, late relief. But what we're also seeing is a dramatic uptick in the number of breaking pitches being thrown. As hitters become more accustomed to hitting higher velocity fastballs, you got to go somewhere else, and that's with more breaking pitches. And if you have the arm speed to throw a good fastball, you potentially have the arm speed to throw a really good breaking pitch.
Almora has been a .309 batter over his last 16 games, and he has 2 hits tonight. We talked about what a terrible start he got off to and what a run he's been on. He has a single and a solo home run tonight. Has scored twice. So we know on Almora Jr. Look out here. Good pitch.
We used to call guys like Robert Stevens the slider machines. One after another after another.
That was Danny Darwin back in his day.
Better believe it.
The human slider.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Boy, he had shot a nice major league career.
Boy, did he ever. Go check out some of those numbers. Really good. Two and two on Almora Jr. Oh boy, we said be careful. That is deep and it'll stay in the ballpark. He did not miss that by much. Ooh, doctor. Make GABP your family destination this Sunday. Thanks to our friends at Klosterman Bakery. Take advantage of a special ticket offer. Enjoy live mascot races, face painters, carnival games, so much more. And in addition, kids 14 and younger receive a Joey Votto play ball arm sleeve thanks to Tri-State Chevy dealers. For tickets, visit Reds.com/150. Hugh Darvish has struck out 10 Cincinnati Reds here tonight in 5 innings. And he is still on the mound after going through his first or second perfect inning of the game in his most recent inning. Suarez a run-scoring double in the first inning. And Darvish struck him out in the third. We're only in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, he's the one guy, not only the one, but I mean one of the main guys who has had a reasonably decent offensive part of the season. Been sandwiched in the middle of the order the entire year. He's done a good job in jumping on hanging breaking pitches. And one of the theories is to get out there and try to pull that pitch so that you can get a cheap home run down the line. And you can see what he's done this year. He's pulled almost 50% of the pitches, which is highest in the National League. And his previous career high was about 10 points less than that. That means he's getting a lot of breaking balls and he's getting them out in front of the plate.
1-2. Well, he got a pitch to hit right there.
And he's got 12 home runs. And, you know, everybody talks about trying to get the ball up in the air and elevate it. Well, the way you do that is you hit the ball out in front of home plate. You can't hit it out of the catcher's glove and elevate the ball in the air very well unless it goes right down the opposite field line. So if he's trying to elevate the ball, he's naturally hitting the breaking pitches on his upswing. And if he doesn't get them in the air, he pulls them. And that's a pretty good breaking ball right there. And number 10 for Darvish. And
11. Well, I tell you what, you heard the Hall of Famer say it, Joe Morgan and Chris. Yu Darvish is a better pitcher than his numbers would indicate so far this year. I think everybody agrees with that as far as just stuff is concerned. But for him to go through 5 1/3 innings against the Reds tonight and not walk a single batter, he's either made incredible adjustments or you're scratching your head. Well, he talked about, for whatever reason, Yu Darvish and his starts against the Cincinnati Reds. And, granted, a couple of them in Texas back in his days with the Rangers. But even last year, 6 innings, he only made 8 starts a whole season. He gave up 1 run. And now tonight, strikes out 11, gives up 2 runs in 5 1/3 innings.
Well, they've got to be certainly encouraged with that start, because he was a problem all year last year and really didn't give him much in the early part of this season. But 11 strikeouts in 5 1/3, nothing to sneeze about. He's only given up a couple of runs, in line for the win if the Cubs hold on, and it'll be up to Mike Montgomery.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go in this one. We're only 1 out into the 6th inning.
Love getting into the bullpen this early. Of course, the Cubs did the same to the Reds.
Montgomery, 29 years old. And as we mentioned, you talk about, you used a term earlier about being remembered in Cubs lore. This guy's name will forever be a huge part of that. Recorded the final out of the 2016 World Series. Got Michael Martinez to ground out. Came in the game with a tying run on base in the 10th inning. His first career save ever in a bullpen in the regular season or the postseason, and it was Game 7 of the World Series. Winker banks one into right field.
It's got to feel good for Winker. It's been a while since he's even had a good swing up there. It seemed like he was really out of kilter last night. Darvish had his number tonight, and Montgomery leaves one on the inner third for him.
We talked about the Cub bullpen, and we showed you some of their numbers and how good they've been in the last 10 days, and really how good they've been since basically the second week of the season. They've been the best bullpen in the league since about the middle of April. But they do not have guys that come in and throw 8,000 miles an hour and strike a lot of people out.
Well, they do utilize a long man, which is something the Reds really haven't done very much of. The Reds have more or less played matchup when they've had to cover a lot of innings if their starter leaves early. But by contrast, Mike Montgomery serves as a really good long man. Last outing he had 5 innings. Did not give up a run.
And you mentioned earlier, Chatwood could do the same thing.
Yeah. It's almost like the Cubs bullpen, a couple of those guys down there are pitchers who are just not quite good enough to be starters. So you're going to put them in the bullpen instead of guys that you went out and got specifically for bullpen roles.
Puig, a huge swing and a miss. Not anywhere close.
Well, took a little bit off that pitch and sold it like a fastball. That's a changeup. A good pitch. It's a good example, though, right there. What Joe Morgan was talking about earlier, about when batters begin to make some changes. We've seen that very consistently with Yasiel Puig. You show him in, you get him out of the way. And at some point, it's not the coaching, it's the player that's got to figure out a way to get out there and cover that pitch that they continue to get you out on.
Of the 17 outs recorded by Cub pitching so far in this game, 12 of the 17 have been via the strikeout. Darvish struck out 11, and Montgomery has picked up 1. But it's still just a 1-run game. And it could be a tie game. That's bouncing around in the corner down there. They're going to wave around the runner. And here comes a throw to the plate, and he's out by 25 feet. Well, on that ball that was hit down the line, and that is Jesse Winker running. This wasn't even close.
Hey, it wasn't close. It seemed like J.R. House decided when that ball was down in the corner. The one thing he may have forgotten is that Jason Hayward is about the best right fielder in the game, or one of. And Winker ran out of gas. In fact, when we first came on, if you read Jesse Winker's lips, it looked like he was talking to Nick Senzel saying, I should have stopped. Anyway, the Reds with 2 outs, taking a shot at it right there, and didn't work.
All right, so it'll be Jared Hughes now taking over on the mound. They got to work out of Robert Stevenson, a scoreless inning, struck out 2, no hits, a walk, and no runs. Boy, that home run Addison Russell hit back in the second inning, Chris, this thing was crushed. StatCast AI powered by AWS.
Knew it right away.
I mean, the deepest part of the ballpark, obviously, and a low line drive.
Yeah, it wasn't hit high enough to give Senzel a chance to get out there and be a hero.
Fouled away by Russell, and it stays at 2-2.
Kind of feast or famine out there as far as being used a lot by Jared Hughes. He went 6 days without being used between the time the Reds were in Oakland on May the 8th until he pitched last night. Pitched 2 innings last night, and then he's back in the ball game again. The life of a reliever.
Well, of course, that game in Oakland, he worked 3 innings out of the bullpen, as you mentioned, 2 hits and no runs. So his last 2 outings have covered 5 full innings, 3 hits and no runs. And we did not see Hughes used like this at all last year.
Spread out over a full week.
Ground ball, glove side, nice pickup. Iglesias a pirouette and had plenty of time and throws it away. He's made a lot of nice plays, but in now back-to-back games in this series, he had outs.
Well, this is a tough play. I really think, though, at the other end of that, Votto somehow got to get a glove on that to keep it from going into the camera well. You save the runner going to second base. Instead, you get a leadoff man at first base, a backup catcher coming to the plate, and maybe a double play possibility.
Well, that's a huge play leading off an inning. They gave it a hit and an error. And this will advance a runner. So Taylor Davis does his job. Daniel Descalzo will come up and bat for Montgomery, who faces 3 batters, gives up 2 hits and no runs, gets 1 out. And now David Bell will counter After the left-handed batting Descalso was announced, it'll be Wandy Peralta. So, well, don't forget the Peanuts ticket package, the theme ticket package, May the 19th. That's next up on the docket. 1:10 game brought to you by Cincinnati Bell. Purchase today at reds.com/peanuts. All right, Wandy Peralta, who we did see here last night. Boy, was he good. Struck out all 3 batters he faced. Here's Descalso, runner at third, infield in. And ball 1 up and in. We talk about living right. Montgomery faced 3 batters, gave up 2 hits, but no runs. They got the runner cut down at the plate. Suarez, Iglesias, Dietrich, and Votto looking for something right at him. It's one thing to walk in a 2-run game, nobody on base, and strike out the side. The Reds need a left-hander down in that bullpen besides Amir Garrett, and from time to time Duke, a guy that can come into a game with a runner at third base and get a big out. 2-1.
Well, I think that's why Peralta's the guy in the game right here, too. He's got a chance of getting a strikeout right here, especially based on his overall stuff. He struck out the side last night, as you said, in the 8th.
2-1 with Russell at third. And this will bring in a run. Well, I tell you what, that is textbook baseball right there by the Cubs.
Well, it's Descalso's the perfect guy to send up in that situation because lefty or righty, chances are he's putting the bat on the ball.
You take advantage of the error along with the infield hit, and then what do? Little ground ball to the right side, fly ball to left center. And a big tack-on run. Unearned, albeit. Pull to the right side. Hayward racing to the bag, and he is beaten there by Peralta, 2 in the inning. For the Cubs, a big run. 4th game summary, a single by Senzel. He stole a base with score on a double by Suarez. It did not last long. In the Chicago 2nd inning, a 2-out single by Almora. A 2-run laser to center by Russell. 2-1 Chicago. Cubs got a home run by Almora with 2 outs off Sonny Gray in the 4th inning, who lasted 5 innings tonight. Reds got a run in the 4th on a 2-out single by Dietrich. He scored on a double by Iglesias. And the Cubbies have just tacked on a run in the top of this 7th inning. So we stand and stretch at Great American Ballpark. And everybody's settling back in. As the Reds will bat against a new Chicago pitcher, Mr. Kinsler, in the game. First time we've seen him in this series.
Now, the name of the game for Kinsler is sinking fastball, power pitcher, not as far as velocity goes, but just pounds the bottom of the zone.
And that's to deep left center field and long gone. How about Jose Iglesias? I mean, this guy is really putting together a nice run at it here for the Redlegs.
Well, the Reds quickly get the run back they gave up at the top of the inning. And he is all over this pitch. I mean, he's a guy that likes to pull the ball. He keeps his weight back on his back leg. And got that one way out in front of home plate.
I mean, that's way back there. Well, he's knocked in 2 of the 3 Reds runs here tonight. They had that RBI double with 2 outs to score Dietrich in the 4th, and now a home run to get the Reds right back within a run. It's been that kind of a game. Reds led by 1. Cubs go up by 1. Cubs go up by 2. Reds pull within 1. Cubs go up by 2. Now a 1-run game again. And here's Josh Van Meter. He got his first big league hit on the road trip and then had a pinch hit single in the 5th inning to center field here last night. To Hopper to the second baseman Russell, out number 1. Kinsler came over last year from the Washington Nationals, a one-time All-Star in this game. Threw the ball very, very well over the weekend before the Cubs made their way here. And really for the whole year. I mean, opponents are batting 150 against him coming into the game tonight. And here's Barnhart, who struck out looking and struck out swinging. Another tight game. Reds have played a whopping 19 one-run games so far this year. And on a 1-1 pitch, Barnhart a bunt, but he'll be thrown out.
Well, after a couple of strikeouts, Tucker's going to try something different right here. Not a bad bunt, but a good job by Kinsler bouncing off the mound, staying under control and getting his man going down the line.
That's just a good athletic play right there.
Yeah.
Third baseman would have never gotten to it. It was a pitcher kind of like last night. If Roark, one more step, maybe he has a play.
He made a nice play on that, Roark did. You're talking about the Descalzo bunt.
Yeah, which eventually led to a couple of runs. Nick Senzel is 2 for 3. 2 singles, 2 stolen bases, has scored a run, popped up to right his last time up in foul ground. Look, you can sit around and talk about it being only May the 15th, but tonight is the kind of game the Reds need to win. You've got your ace going tomorrow. You could find a way to rally and get this one and then take your chances in the rubber game tomorrow with Castillo.
Well, you'd always want to take your chances there, but it does give you a chance to win the series.
Of course.
Against a top-rated team, number 1 in the division, and you're going to host the top-rated team in the West this weekend coming in. So it gives you a little momentum right there.
Well, the Reds have 6 outs to play with. They pull a run closer on the home run by Iglesias. We're off to the 8th. 4-3, Chicago.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Senzel did not like the call on that final strike 3 pitch by the home plate umpire Roberto Ortiz. Thought it was high.
I can see why. I mean, it was a frame job and a decent job of convincing Ortiz it was a strike. by Taylor Davis, the catcher. Yeah, that was a nice thing by Senzel to do, though. I mean, you let yourself be known. Hey, I don't agree. Didn't get out of hand. Didn't get angry. Don't want to get the reputation that you're a hard to get along with player. You have an attitude. But you want to stick up for yourself, too. David Hernandez now against the middle of the order.
Well, Hernandez was so brilliant the second to last game of the road trip. And then, of course, after going 2 perfect innings with 5 strikeouts, they brought him back the next day and wasn't quite as sharp. Was hung with a loss after Mahle had given up the 2-run home run to tie the game. Dietrich out to get the pop-up by Bryant, 1 out. But this guy has been rock solid. Been a rare off night for Mr. Javier Baez, Chris. 3 strikeouts.
Either an off night for Baez or an exceptional night for sliders on the corner. Because every pitch is the same one, although he kind of hung one right there, did Robert Stevenson. But every other slider he's looked at has been right in that down and away corner. And your head's into it, but your body's not.
I'll still take him. You?
I love the way he plays the game with energy, enthusiasm.
I will take him all day, every day.
Well, that was his chance to hit the fastball, I think, right there for Hernandez. Now, your head 1 and 2, you can go back upstairs again. You can come inside to open up the outside corner for the following pitch, or do you just go back out there again right now with the old curveball?
1 ball and 2 strikes. They look like they're going out there with a fastball, and they lock him up. And that's a 4 strikeout night for Mr. Baez, and he has some words for Ortiz.
I don't think he had any words for Ortiz. I mean, how can you complain about this pitch unless he thought it was a little bit high? You know, we're seeing more and more of the high pitch called for a strike. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago that anything above the waist was a ball. But the strike zone extended lower than the knee by a few inches. And it also extended out beyond the outside part of home plate by a few inches. If you remember the old, Tommy Glavine or Greg Maddux strike zone. But now you're seeing more and more high pitches called for strikes because hitters are swinging at them. They start out low in their stance, and as they swing, they come up. And as they come up, they raise that strike zone because that's a variable part of the zone right there.
And that's one thing you talk about frequently, and I know that you can check out at baseballrulesacademy.com. That is baseballrulesacademy.com, and I think that would surprise a lot of people. Here's a drive into right center field, and it is a home run by Kyle Schwarber on a 2-0 pitch. He was 0 for 4 in his career against Hernandez before that swing. Every time the Reds get within a run, the Cubbies go back up by 2.
The Reds have been flirting with danger all night long with Schwarber because it seems like every time you turn around, he's in a hitter's count. A 2-0 count, a 3-1 count. Here's 2-0. You're just trying to feather a little fastball down and away and hope he doesn't get out in front of it, and he does. He is one strong guy. Had a chance to visit a little bit with Kyle before the game today, and he drove down here from Chicago on his day off on Monday to visit with all his family up in Middletown. He's got a ton of friends and family here for this series. Great kid. Just hate to see him do it in a blue uniform.
Yes, you do. I tell you, I know that feeling. Back in the days when I was working in Chicago and was fortunate to be announcing the University of Cincinnati Bearcats basketball games, there's nothing like that feeling. And it doesn't matter where you live. Doesn't have to be coming just from Chicago to Cincinnati, but I can really relate to Schwarber looking up at family and friends right now that when you get in that car in Chicago and you know you're driving back to Cincinnati to see your family and all your buddies and hang out, got an off day, get rolling early, well, that's a good feeling cruising down the road. Strike 3 called on Bodie, and that'll end the inning. But Cubs have scored in each of the last 2 innings some big runs. 30 minutes before the start of every game here on Fox Sports Ohio, we bring you Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Again, it'll be at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Game coverage at 6:30. And Chris, you were there. 11 punch-outs. A career high his last time out for Luis Castillo.
I mean, it was just severe domination for Castillo, and it seems like it's that way more than not. In fact, you get to the point now, you know, you're depending on him a lot. You're expecting him to go out and be the same guy every time out. It's just not that easy, although he makes it look that way.
Well, now on the pitch, he came in to face one batter, and it's the same batter he'll face to begin the 8th inning, Joey Votto. And that pitcher is left-hander Kyle Ryan. Ryan looked like he had a hard time getting the ball over the plate last night. And Votto, who had not swung in a couple of at-bats earlier in the game, swung at a 3-1 pitch. And here it's a 1-0 pitch and a base hit into center field to bring the tying run to the plate. First hit tonight for Votto.
That's a little more vintage Votto right there, staying behind it. Choking up against left-hander early on, getting a fastball that he can handle. So leadoff hitter on, and that will be all for Ryan. He was going to have a one-batter appearance here tonight. There's Joe Madden.
Mm-hmm. They have Carl Edwards Jr. just back from the minor leagues coming. Well, as part of the 150th anniversary celebration, the first 20,000 fans in attendance this Saturday receive an early Lombardi bobblehead presented by TriHealth. Visit Reds.com/150. All right, things are getting interesting now. Heart of the order coming up. You're down by 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. This guy's been so good for the Cubs the last couple of years, but did not start the season all that well, and they shipped him out to the minor leagues. Carl Edwards Jr. And boy, when he's throwing strikes, he is as close to unhittable as any reliever in the league.
Well, he's a guy that has really been able to take advantage of good backspin on the fastball and pitching upstairs with it. You know, he spent the spring redoing his entire delivery. And it was a hesitation delivery, kind of a toe tap delivery. And then in the first series of the year, he pitched against the Texas Rangers, and their manager, Chris Woodward, reportedly complained about it. And the league met and decided that it was an illegal delivery.
High fly ball. Did he get enough to tie it? Mark it down. Edwards falls behind 2-0, and Suarez is ready to jump all over it. He hit that ball a long way.
Well, he was guessing fastball, and that's a good guess against Carl Edwards. And he got it up and out over the plate, and boy, has he been clutch for the Reds.
Home run number 13 for Eugenio Suarez. And still nobody out now. here in this bottom of the 8th inning. What a better time it would be to try and take a lead here. You know, you saw the opponent's batting average against in not very many innings against Edwards. Opponents are hitting $170 against him. But he's been so wild and falling behind so many batters that he's already balled one on Winker.
Well, after he got into that problem with his delivery, they sent him down to the minor leagues. He ends up on the minor league injured list with a cut hand. And he finally worked his way back, and they recently recalled him. So they're hoping that they get the old Carl Edwards back. That did not do much for his confidence. Yeah, his game is getting them to chase that pitch right there at the top of the zone. And if you tell yourself ahead of time, I'm going to make him bring it down at least to the belt before I swing to it, swing at it, you've got a lot better chance.
2-1 on Jesse Winker. And Winker does chase that pitch that you just alluded to, a fastball up around the letters.
Yeah, the one before that was way so high that you didn't even think about it. But that one looks good, and that's the one you have to lay off. Hard to do.
Comes back with a breaking ball, and it's rolled foul. Yasiel Puig next, and then Derek Dietrich. Without even looking, one would assume that Yasiel Iglesias would be throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen. And he is. Broken bat. Winker got the base hit against a left-hander, and we've talked many times, those have been so few and far between for Winker. Not base hits, but base hits against left-handers. And, well, in fact, yeah, base hits. When you're hitting into two teams, and we know that Winker is a far better hitter than that. 2-2 on Jesse in a tie game here in the 8th. Ball 3. No activity in the Cub bullpen. The rest of this 8th inning belongs to Edwards. They will sink or swim with this very, very talented but frequently erratic right-hander.
He stayed persistent with that breaking pitch, one after another, and finally got this one right in there to Winker to take. Puig's the guy that has to lay off the high pitch.
Fastball up, and he pops it up, and he is a one-pitch easy out. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky at Miami Valley Gaming.
So now Dietrich. What a flair for the dramatic this young man has had. His first season with the Reds. 10 home runs, and you can just about remember every single one of them. Why not remember number 11? Breaking ball, low. That pitch just ate him up. That's another pitch up in the strike zone, a fastball. So Edwards comes in, gives up a game-tying 2-run home run to Eugenio Suarez, and we're off to the 9th inning. The Reds and the Cubbies even at 5. It's baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Toyota. For all your Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by First Financial Bank, we put your success first. Learn more at bankatfirst.com, member FDIC. Well, you know, much was made when the Reds left town last with the comments made by Yasiel Puig. He did not like the way David Bell was using him out of the bullpen, bringing him into tie games. He's lost 4 games, has a very high ERA, given up a number of home runs. But here at home, he's coming into a tie game.
Well, that's the way it happens here. When you're a closer in a tie game, 9th inning or later, you're coming into a ball game, and then you work your bullpen from the best to the worst from there. And the best you got out there right now is Iglesias. So that's the way it works. And I mean, to follow that up, he and David Bell have sat down. You know, David Bell didn't get into specifics, but made it clear that they talked about it and that he explained to Iglesias that he's going to use him as needed.
Popped up by Almora Jr., and that's out number 1. Jose Peraza has come into the game, and he's taking over at second base. So part of a double switch, which means he'll bat second in the bottom of the 9th inning. The pitcher spot. Iglesias scheduled to lead off the bottom of the 9th. And that would be Jose Iglesias, of course, not Yasiel. Here's Addison Russell. Boy, where did that miss?
Been a strike all night.
Holy Moses. Russell waiting. Well, you better be careful here. It's a 2-0 count on a guy that can hit the ball a long way. He's already done it tonight, twice. Tardy on a fastball, and he pops it up. Foul ground for the second out of the inning. So now it's Davis, the catcher, with 2 down and nobody on. 1 for 3 in the game. And Iglesias to work. Fastball in there at 96, a strike.
Yeah, really what you're looking at with Taylor Davis is the Corky Miller of the Cubs. Guy that's been in their system for a long, long time. Probably a fan favorite in every one of the upper level minor league stops he's been in.
Oh, you can take it to the bank.
Yeah.
There's nothing like going on the Reds Caravan, which I am honored, and I use that word seriously, to be a part of with Corky Miller every single year. I mean, he is the best. Illinois guy. These days, makes his home there, has for a long, long time. Corky. What a good guy. It's so popular. I think he's going to be a good manager one day. It's a matter of right now he still has young kids at home, and so the grind of being a minor league manager at this point in time, he's got kids to raise. 1-2.
I mean, Davis has played 3 years, 3 different seasons with Tennessee Smokies. That's down in Southern League. I make it 4 different seasons down there. He's been with the Iowa Cubs on and off since 2006-15.
It's a good analogy. Corky.
Yeah.
Well, it is 3-2 on the guy that you got to get out.
I'll tell you one thing. You don't want to leave the ball in the inner part of the plate here. You see him exiting that batter's box towards third base with his left side. I mean, not just his left foot, but his knee, his hip, his front side. And I guarantee he's strong enough to hit it a long way if you put it in the right spot.
And a line drive, and Peraza just comes into the game in a leaping grab. How about that? All right, here we go. Bottom of the ninth. Can the Reds beat the Cubbies? Coming up after the game and every game here on Fox Sports Ohio, it's Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Brian Giesenslaw will be in the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Jim Day still getting it done down there in the Reds dugout. Brad Brock now takes over on the mound. We saw him last night. Or no, I beg your pardon, we did not. He was warming up last night. You see, he's having a nice year. We've seen Brock in the past. He was an all-star with the Baltimore Orioles back in 2016. Came up with San Diego, went to the Orioles, and spent part of last year in Atlanta. And a rocket right at the third baseman. Wow, Iglesias. After a double and a home run, this might have been the hardest hit ball of the night.
I mean, didn't wait long at all. That ball just sinking hard. David Bodie right there able to corral it.
It's 104 miles per hour off the bat. Now Peraza, his first at bat of the game. It's his first at bat in the first two games of this series for Jose. He got a couple of starts, played in 5 games on the road trip, and had 5 hits and 13 at bats, including a rare couple of walks.
2 of them in 1 game.
Quickly behind here, 0-2.
Had a pitch to hit right there. You know, he has really good power. But when he starts leaning forward out over the plate, he loses all the strength in his core. And he's susceptible to just flaring the ball to right field. He's seen a lot of little dinkers into right, but the balls that he hits hard are up and in. Like that. On the inner part of the plate, ball just jumps off his bat. It's a good example, really, on back-to-back pitches, what I'm talking about right there, and what hitting coaches have been working with him a lot over the years. It's just a matter of taking what you do in practice and putting it in the game.
Hanging around. Two on Jose Peraza. Started 2 and did not offer the pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You have Barnhart next. And then it would be Senzel should we get that far. Bodie will throw out Peraza, 2 down. These are the kinds of games the Reds have just come up short time after time after time. Will tonight be different? In one-run games, they've lost 13 out of a whopping 19 games. No other team in baseball has lost more than 9 one-run games. And in extra innings, that's where we're going. The Cubbies are 3-0. The Reds are 1-4. 5-5 affair. So we're off to extra innings, a 5-5 game at the end of 9. And we mentioned the numbers going to break. Cubbies are perfect in extra inning games. The Reds are 3 under 500.
This is kind of a duel of managers' wits right here, one against the other, and depending on how long they think this game is going to last, they'll manage differently. And kind of interesting right here, Joe Maddon is going to send up his relief pitcher, Brad Brock, to lead the inning off.
All right.
Rizzo obviously not available.
Right.
Daniel Descalzo has been used. So you've got one extra right-handed hitting outfielder, and then Wilson Contreras, the catcher. Mark Zagunis is the outfielder.
Brock has 1 plate appearance this year, and he put down a sacrifice punt.
Oh, but where the third baseman's playing, he may want to try another one.
Sinking liner, and a good thing.
Boy, that was an overshift right there on the outfielder. I mean, just playing really shallow. I mean, look where he is right here. And this little looper just goes right in here, and Nick Senzel is right on the spot.
All right, so now the top of the order in Hayward, who is 0 for 8 in the first 2 games of this series. And make it 0 for 9. 2 out in the inning.
Well, those are 2 easy outs right here. Normally, you know, you bring your closer in and you're thinking, all right, you know, we're going to get 2 innings out of Iglesias. But, you know, what if he comes out of this and pitches 2 innings and has 18 pitches? Mm-hmm. Do you bring him back out there for another one if the Reds don't score?
Strike called on the outside corner to Chris Bryant.
What a perfect pitch to start that at bat off with.
Bryant tonight is 0 for 4. A ground ball to short, a fly ball to center, a pop up to third, a pop up to second base. He had 3 hits, including a double and a run scored last night. But of course, always a huge threat at the plate. Into left center field. That'll fall in a base hit. Bryant aboard, and the inning continues for Javier Baez.
Yeah, Bryant with a steady diet of sliders right there. Just finally reached out and had a little plate coverage. Was able to get one into left field. For the difference between throwing it on the outer part of the plate waist high versus knee high.
Baez has faced Iglesias 7 times. He's 0 for 7 and has struck out 3 of the 7 trips. And tonight, Baez has struck out 4 times. It's a money game here tonight for the Redlegs. Breaking ball down and away.
Boy, he has been a sucker for that pitch all night long. 4 strikeouts. Everyone except the last one came on the slider. David Hernandez took a fastball by him, or snuck one by him in the 8th, looking for his 4th punch out of the game.
Five runs, 8 hits, 3 left for the Cubs. 5 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, which led to an unearned run. 4 left on base for the Redlegs. Go ahead, run at first. 2 outs, top of the 10th inning. There's that breaking ball again, and again the same result. 1-2 on Javier Baez. Will they go there again? Looked like some uncertainty there. Called for a breaking ball again and maybe a fastball thereafter.
You know, I'm not certain that there's a perfect pitch here. I'm just certain to know that you better believe in the pitch you're going to throw right here. Because if there's any doubt, there's a chance you're just not going to finish it and you're going to leave it hanging. You ask any pitcher the same question and they'll answer it the same way.
One ball, 2 strikes on Baez. And a broken bat floater for a hit. Bryant on his way to third. And now it'll be Schwarber against Iglesias. Runners at first and third.
Boy, what a job of hitting right there. Just trying to put the bat on the ball. You couldn't throw a better location on that slider unless you bounce it in the dirt, and maybe Baez would have even been able to put that in play.
Are they taking Iglesias out of this game with a left-handed batting Schwarber coming up? Because you could take it to the bank.
Well, I think they may have reached a point with Iglesias that he's thrown enough pitches in this game right now that they've got what they needed out of him. So you could always, I don't know if you felt you like to, you could always walk Schwarber or pitch around him and then have David Bodie coming up. But then you have bases loaded for whoever's in the game. I think that David Bell has got a lot of confidence in Amir Garrett, and that's who we're going to see.
All right, here's the question. Here's the question you're asking yourself right now. Nuts and bolts, would you rather put this guy on base, Schwarber, and have Iglesias face David Bowie? Or are you going to bring in the left-hander, and there's a chance they're going to hit Wilson Contreras against Amir Garrett? That's what this whole thing boils down to, and we'll find out if they're going to hit for sure. All right, here we go. Amir Garrett coming in, and as we suspected going to break, there was no way Schwarber was batting. So Wilson Contreras, who's been one of their best offensive players all year long, is going to pinch hit for Schwarber. Right-handed batters this year against Amir Garrett, if you're wondering. Batting 179 in 28 at-bats, only 5 hits, 10 strikeouts. He has walked 5.
That's not a lot of at-bats, really, considering he's been in 21 games. But his slider is his go-to pitch versus lefties or righties.
Casale in the game, part of a double switch. And Garrett going to get one pitch, and the out he does. Amir Garrett takes care of Contreras. So David Bell pushing the right button there. Bringing Garrett on to face Contreras. And that lasted all of one pitch.
Something about the Cubs, like I said before, I love playing them. Yeah. Good or bad the outcome, I'm still going to have the same, I'm going to keep the same energy. I want to play them. Yeah. I want to dominate them. Mm-hmm. I want to do everything I can to beat them. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like they bring out the best in me.
Yeah, telling the Cub faithful that are here tonight, and there's a ton of them again, to pipe down. All right, Brock, after being allowed to hit leading off the top of the 10th inning, naturally is still on the mound. And here's Senzel. 2 for 4, had singles in each of his first 2 times up. Stole a base, scored a run in the first, stole a base again in the third. Has since popped to right and struck out looking. Reds got a home run by Iglesias in the 7th, and a game-tying 2-out, 2-run home run by Suarez in the 8th. High fly ball to left. Easy play out there for Bryant, who has moved into left field, and we'll tell you about some of the changes. It's amazing, some of the flexibility these players give Joe Madden. Contreras, a catcher, by Trey, moving over to first base. You got Bryant, who has played this year both corner outfield positions, naturally has played third base, filled in the last couple of games at first for Rizzo, last 3 games. And here's Joey Votto with 1 out in the 10th. 2-0. Votto had a big base hit. That single, his first hit of the night.
And he had a home run yesterday.
Three 0-1 Votto.
You know how he likes to hit on a 3-0 count? I'm sure the Cubs know that.
Milwaukee in the 8th inning, leading Philadelphia 5-2. Pirates have lost already today. Here's a 3-0 to Votto. And he does swing, and he's beaten on a fastball in. 3-1. Atlanta in the 9th inning, leading St. Louis 4-0. If you did what Votto just did 10 years ago, you'd have been thrown out of the game.
Yep.
I mean, not even the blink of an eye. When you wave an umpire off like that, gone. 3-2 the count. And it's ball 4 after all. His last time up in the 8th inning. Game-tying home run by Suarez. Number 13 on the year. Strike 1.
Well, Suarez wants to talk about it a little bit before he gets back in the batter's box, and not like that first pitch strike call.
Votto does not even have a 1.5-step lead. And is he even going to get to third base here? Here comes a throw into third. It is dropped by the third baseman, or he would have been out. How about that?
Well, he got there at the same time as the throw. Not an easy play for David Bodie, because the runner's coming in almost shielding him from that throw in from left field. The ball rifled right by a backhanded attempt right there. Votto's coming all the way to third. And with 1 out, it's worth taking a shot right there. Chris Bryant comes in, and the short hop just unable to hold on to it right there. So a good break for the Reds.
There's no one warming up in the bullpen. I think Joe Madden has made it perfectly clear that that he's staying with Brock here.
I really got to think they're going to bring in a 6-man infield right here. They're going to bring in an extra infielder.
Yep.
And they're going to play 2 guys in the outfield, bring the infield in at the edge of the grass. Probably walk Winker to set up a ground ball double play. So Chris Bryant exchanges a large outfield glove for his smaller infielder's glove. I mean, this is really a situation. We've seen it extreme like this over the last few years, but the Cubs are against the wall right here. They've got really no choice except to set up a double play ball and hope that Yasiel Puig, who's in the on-deck circle, hits a ground ball into a double play. And they have already walked Jesse Winker. Michael Lorenzen will come in and run at third base for Joey Votto. And you do that just in case there is a shallow fly ball.
Yep.
Because on a ground ball, having a speedster at third base doesn't make any difference at all. So there's the infield.
Unless it's, the fielder has to go a step or two and then throw off balance, and because of the force play, maybe it pulls him off the plate. But anyway, obviously they're thinking play at the plate, double play, or in Puig's case, they're also thinking strikeout here.
Yes, they are.
He has struck out 3 times tonight. 0 for 4. This is a game the Reds need. They really need this game tonight.
Well, I think Puig matches up much better here against Brock than he did against Carl Edwards.
This is money time right here and right now. You got the division leaders in town. They win the opener last night. They only win by 2, but they dominate you last night. You come back to tie it in the 8th inning here tonight. You've got your main man, Luis Castillo, in the series finale. And here's ball 1. One and 0 to Yasiel Puig. And the Reds will go home winners. Puig, a drive to center field. And the Reds rally to stun the Cubs. How about that, Doctor? First walk-off win of the year for the Cincinnati Reds, and it's Yasiel Puig driving one to the warning track. There was no doubt about it. The second it left the bat. Our key performer, brought to you by your Tri-State Buick GMC dealer. As soon as it left the bat, this crowd knew it. Puig knew it. Everybody knew it. Lorenzen, just to be on the safe side, would go back to the bag alertly in case that ball was caught out there. Yes, how sweet it is. So a rubber game tomorrow. A rubber game tomorrow. Reds win in extra innings. And Jeff Picoro is standing by downstairs with Yasiel Puig.
Hey, thank you very much, Tom. Boy, Yasiel, in that situation, they bring the extra infielder in. You're just trying to find anything that you can drive in that situation, huh?
I've been swinging the freeze cup I beat everywhere, and now I am focused to put the ball in the play in the game, and finally I put the ball in the air, and we won.
How much fun is that when you go around the bases and the whole team is there for you?
That's a pretty amazing long time.
That has to be fun, right?
That's super cool right now. Long time they not finish the game like this. I'm so excited now, and let's go win more games tomorrow.
It's fun to beat this team. The Cubs come in here. They always have a big crowd on the road. And to be able to beat them and get the win in this fashion, that's got to be great for you guys, right?
We go and play a lot of games, face Cup, and we try to do the best we can like a team together. We know that it's going to be tough, but we have a pretty amazing team, and the starting pitchers and the closer and the bullpen, everybody's do amazing job, and that's the reason we finished this game winning in this moment right here.
Congratulations, big man. All right, let's take it back upstairs to Tom and Chris. We're making a mess down here, boys.
That's good stuff. It was Farmer the first go-round and Winker the second go-round. But the bottom line is the Reds come away with a huge victory here tonight. Game-tying two-run home run by Suarez in the 8th inning. Votto leads off with a walk, gets to third. Puig drives in the winning run. Reds Live next.